Hello everyone, welcome back to Corporate Economy. In this video, we are continuing our Best APIs interview series. Now, we will cover questions 11 to 20 with proper explanation and real understanding. So, let's continue. Now, first question is, what is HETEOS? HETEOS stands for Hypermedia as the engine of application state. It is one of the constraints of REST architecture. In simple words, headers means when a client receives a response from the server, it should also receive links to related actions. These links help the client understand what it can do next. For example, if you request details of a user, the response may contain links like update user or delete user. So instead of hard coding URLs on the client side, the client dynamically navigates using links provided by the server. This makes APIs more flexible and self-descriptive. Although Helios is part of REST theories, many real-world APIs don't fully implement it. Next question is, what are REST constraints? REST architecture follows certain constraints or rules. There are mainly 6 constraints. First is client-server architecture, which means client and server are separate. Second is statelessness, meaning server does not store client data session. Third is cacheable, meaning responses should define whether they can be cached. Fourth is uniform interface, which means consistent API design. Fifth is layered system, meaning the client cannot tell whether it is connected directly to the server or through intermediaries. And sixth is code on demand, which is optional. So these constants ensure scalability, simplicity, and reliability of REST APIs. Next question is difference between put and post for resource creation. Post is generally used when the server generates the ID of the resource. For example, when you create a new user, the server assigns the user ID automatically. Put is used when the client already knows the resource ID. For example, if you want to create or update user with ID 10, you send put to /user/10. Another important difference is idempotency. Put is idempotent, meaning repeated requests give same result. Post is not idempotent and can create multiple resources if repeated. So, in short, post is used when server controls ID creation and put is used when client controls the resource ID. Now, next question is, what is REST endpoint? A REST endpoint is basically a URL where the APIs can be accessed. It is the specific address where a resource is available. For example, /user or /product/1. These are endpoints. When a client sends a request to an endpoint, the server processes it and returns a response. In simple terms, endpoint is the combination of URI and HTTP method. It defines what action we are performing on which resource. Every API consists of multiple endpoints. Now, next question is, what is versioning in REST API? Versioning means managing different versions of an API so that old clients continue working even after updates. For example, you might have /v1/users or /v1/users. If you make breaking changes in your API, instead of modifying the old ones, you create a new version. This ensures backward compatibility. Versioning is a very important production system because thousands of clients might already be using your API. Without versioning, updates could break existing applications. Next question is, what is rate limiting? Rate limiting means restricting the number of API requests a client can make within a specific time period. For example, an API may allow only 100 requests per minute. If the client exceeds that limit, the server may block further requests temporarily. Rate limiting helps prevent abuse, spam, and server overload. It ensures fair usage of resources among all users. Usually, when limit is exceeded, the server responds with status code 429, too many requests. Next question is, what is API key authentication? API key authentication is a simple way to secure APIs. In this method, the client sends a unique key with each request. The server checks these requests to identify and authorize the client. If the key is valid, access is granted. Otherwise, the request is rejected. The API key is usually sent in request headers or query parameters. This method is easy to implement but not very secure compared to OAuth or JWT. It is mainly used for simple applications or public APIs. Now, next question is, what is JWT? JWT stands for JSON Web Token. It is a compact and secure way to transmit information between client and server. JWT is commonly used for authentication. When a user logs in successfully, the server generates a token and sends it to the client. This token is then sent with every request in the authorization header. The server verifies the token before allowing access. JWT contains three parts: header, payload, and signature. It is secure because it is digitally signed. Now, next question is, difference between REST and GraphQL. REST and GraphQL are both used to build APIs, but they work differently. In REST, we have multiple endpoints for different resources. For example, slash user, slash order, or slash products. Sometimes we may get more or less data than needed. GraphQL uses single endpoint. The client specifies exactly what data it needs, and the server returns only that data. REST is simple and widely used, and GraphQL is flexible and avoids overfetching or underfetching of data. So, REST is resource based, while GraphQL is query based. Next question is, what is content negotiation? Content negotiation means the client and server agree on the format of the response. For example, the client may request data in JSON, XML, or HTML format. This is done using the accept header in the HTTP request. If the server supports the requested format, it sends the response in that format. Otherwise, it may return an error. This feature makes API flexible because different clients may require different data formats. So, these were questions from 11 to 20 explained in a detailed and a simple and practical way. Make sure you understand the concepts like versioning, rate limiting, JWT, and GraphQL clearly because these are very commonly asked in interviews. If this helped you, like the video and subscribe to Corporate Mummy for more interview preparation content. See you in the next video. Thank you.